score team-wise, 32-2, it doesn't look like it's that close. But if you look at the individual matchups, there were a lot of close ones. And he felt like, in a lot of ways, some of his most veteran and smartest guys ended up beating themselves. So they're hoping to use that as a learning experience as we approach March and the postseason in the sport.
Meanwhile, Duke coming off a win at Gardner-Webb in the midweek in a duel. And then the Blue Devils took on Virginia Tech last week and up in Blacksburg. But again, a lot of excitement, and feel like Glenn Lanham still encouraged about his group heading into the stretch run of this ACC season.
Yeah, I think he's definitely still encouraged about his group, and I think the thing he brought up to us, and then you look at the numbers, it bears it out. Duke always wrestles Virginia really well. 3 of the last 5 duels decided by less than 10 points. We'll see what happens here in this one tonight.
Virginia looking to pick up their 4th consecutive win against the Blue Devils if they're victorious today. We start things at 125. Patrick McCormick for Virginia against fallTy Naquin for Duke. Naquin, an interesting story. Actually didn't wrestle for about 5 years. Kind of a Rudy-like story. Really beat down the door of Glenn Lanham every single day. Came to Glenn during COVID and said, hey, want to be part of your team. Obviously, with the COVID bubble, Duke didn't want to expand their roster, but persistence paid off for Naquin. It was on the team, now wrestling here at 125. He's wrestled in back-to-back matches, now a 3rd consecutive start for Naquin, the wrestler for the Blue Devils.
I can't even begin to fathom how hard it would be to take 5 years off from the sport and then come back at this level, the Division I level. And, I mean, frankly, in the ACC with where ACC wrestling has gotten, very impressive job for him to take that time off and beat the door down. And as Glenn Lanham said, he just wore me out. He won the overtime match is what Glenn Lanham said.
Lanham said he's learning on the job. He's a scrapper, currently getting a doctorate degree at Duke as well. And I thought what was most interesting about the conversation about Naquin is the fact that Glenn Lanham, the head coach of the Blue Devils, said, you know, who am I to deny this guy his dream of wrestling at Duke? He said, let him go out there. He's never missed a practice, and now late in the year, he's Duke's starter at 125. Meanwhile, for Patrick McCormick, a NCAA qualifier last year for the Cavaliers, over halfway through this opening period, what's your synopsis of what we've seen so far?
Just a lot of hand fighting right now, not too much committed shots. We'll see if that changes here as we just went past the halfway point of the first period.
McCormick, a big win over Moore from North Carolina a couple times out. Had that ranked matchup with Kamako of NC State last week in Raleigh.
Yeah, and he's got a ranked win over Joey Prada as well of Oklahoma. So, I mean, Patrick McCormick's got some big wins this year. He's also got some losses that you wouldn't expect a guy of his level to be taken. I mean, Steve Garland told us he's had a very up and down season, no doubt about it.
10-9 his record entering this duel this afternoon. The restart here, under a minute to go in the opening period.
And I honestly think if Naquin can get out of here 0-0 scoreless first period, I mean, that's almost like a win for him. A guy that took 5 years off from the sport. He's 2-13 on the year, so taking his lumps right now. But if he can get out of here 0-0 with a guy like Patrick McCormick, I think Duke will take that.
He's wrestled in 4 consecutive matches, and I imagine the consistency as part of it, too, when you go a while, even in the season, and don't get a chance to compete, get a little bit rusty. Now a chance in his 5th consecutive match, maybe to score a couple points. Instead, it's Virginia out there with a 2-point takedown.
Yeah, great little go behind there from McCormick. Big slam to finish up and secure the points before the end of the period.
Even though you're down 2-0 after one period, you feel like Naquin is going to be okay with where he's at in this match?
Yeah, and here we go. Here's the first little interesting thing. He just chose neutral, but let's go back and see that takedown. No control there yet, but he gets the big mat return, secures the 2 with about, I think there were about 4 or 5 seconds left in the period. And I believe it was Naquin's choice here, and he chose neutral. We got a little clock issue we're trying to straighten out.
Now we're ready to go. Surprised he chose neutral?
It probably something that, you know, they might know he's a little deficient on bottom. McCormick could be really good there, but I'm guessing it's probably the former. And they know his best chance is to go neutral and not to go underneath. I mean, and that's the big thing, the big difference from high school to college wrestling is not really, I mean, yeah, guys are better in neutral, but the mat wrestling is the biggest jump from high school to college. So I think it makes sense that they didn't want to put Naquin on bottom, and he just picked up a stalling call there.
Naquin, though, it's not like he's coming from a state or a place where wrestling is not big. He comes from that talent-rich state of Alabama, so he's got some pedigree in his wrestling background.
So he's going to have to pick up his offense here to avoid getting another stall call, and instead it's McCormick dropping down to the double leg and finishing on the edge.
Another 2-point takedown. McCormick out to a 4-0 lead. Final minute of the second period. And a little close to the scorer's table there. We'll reset. McCormick is second-generation Cavalier wrestler. His dad, Mike, wrestled for Virginia from 85 to 1990. Mom, Carrie, a cheerleader at Maryland.
And you probably see right there why Naquin wanted to start the second period in neutral and not on bottom. McCormick with a very quick breakdown. He's got the leg thrown in on the right side. Just a bulldog ride right now. See if he's able to use that to get a turn.
Under 30 seconds for this second period. Naquin just trying to survive this second period. Riding time approaching a minute as well for Virginia.
That's going to be a second stalling call against Naquin. 1 point for McCormick. And as you mentioned, partner, he just reached a minute of riding time as well. It's at 1:13 at the end of the period.
And no surprise here, McCormick will select the bottom.
And I think if you're Virginia, you want to see McCormick go out and start hunting for bonus points here. If you win by 8 or more in the individual match, that's a major decision. That gets you an extra team point. If you win by 15 or more, that's a technical fall. That's 5 team points. And then, of course, if you get the pin, that is 16 points. So I think if you're Virginia, you're expecting McCormick to get out and then start hunting for bonus.
For McCormick, though, even at 125 is the reversal there. Another point for Virginia. Even at 125, you can come out and set a tone for the duel, can't you?
Absolutely. You want your 125-pounder to be a tone setter like that. And I do believe we just had another stalling call issued against Naquin, so another penalty point goes towards McCormick. That makes it 7-0. He does have riding time still currently at 1:07. That would make it 8-0.
Naquin trying for the takedown, but instead 2 more points there for the Cavaliers.
And if you're Naquin, that's exactly what you have to shoot. You've been hit for stalling 3 times. You can't really hang out anymore.
Naquin did get the escape there, so he did get the 1 point. But you mentioned Virginia hunting for those bonus points. At the same time for Naquin now, maybe with the match already sort of decided, your goal here is just not to give up those bonus points, right?
Yeah, and right now he's got to score a takedown in order to do that. Down 9 and just gave up another one.
2 more points there, under a minute to go in this opening match between the Blue Devils and the Cavaliers. And now the count is on here. 2 more points for McCormick. Out to a 10-point advantage. Will be more than that with the riding time now over a minute and a half.
Yeah, and he's doing exactly what you would want for the Cavaliers, racking up those bonus points and getting right back to work. He's got 30 seconds, so he cuts Naquin, comes back center, and he's going to look to score off of this shot again. Just a simple, easy technique there. Stop his shot, sprawl, go behind, get your 2, and now he's cutting again.
Final 15 seconds.
Another takedown would complete the tech fall with the riding time point.
There is the takedown. That will complete the tech fall as the horn sounds. And another win for Patrick McCormick, his 11th of the season, and it's Virginia out to the lead after 125.
Yeah, we talked about it there. Patrick McCormick going out and doing exactly what you want from the Cavaliers' perspective. Lots of spin go behinds there, but he was able to get his offense going, put on a clinic in neutral.
So for